let's talk about how I cut the pieces for my pillow. This insert is a 20 by 20. So I cut the front pieces 20 by 20. I did not allow for any seam allowances in there. And so I cut, because these are a stripe, I did want them to match. So I'm going to show you here in a minute how I did that. But I first just want to explain how I cut my panels. So this front piece is 20 by 20. Then the back, I did an envelope fold on. And what I did is I added 5 inches. So on one piece, I made it 20 by 12, and the other piece, I made it 20 by 13. And that's how I come up with my fold. I'm going to show you how I made the seams and how I put it together, but I just want to explain to you the sizes that I cut and how I made that envelope fold. Now let me show you how I made this so that the stripes lined up. First, I cut my front panels, and I knew I needed them 20 by 20. When I had looked at this fabric and I looked at the lines, I realized that I was not going to be able to get it 100% like centered. So what I decided to do is, between these 2 green lines, I split that in half, and that is how I was going to determine where my center was going to be for each pillow. I guess if that makes sense. Not really the center, but where I was going to cut for each panel. So here I am just figuring out, and I'm checking, double checking, triple checking, trying to make sure I have it right in my head before I actually make that cut. So I got this fabric from Hobby Lobby. This is duck cloth. The blue floral that I used also with the other pillows were duck cloth. And then that smaller lumbar pillow was not duck cloth, but I really like using duck cloth. It's just a great quality. So here I am, I have my 2 pieces, and I don't have them completely cut down yet. I just have that like center cut, and I'm lining them up. I want to make sure that they look right. Again, these are my 2 front pieces because I'm making 2 pillows. And I can see that they are, so now I just need to cut the other side on each to get my final 20 by 20 measurement. You'll notice that I do a lot of checking and double checking. I think when you're doing a pattern, it's just good to kind of make sure that you're on track so that you don't get way ahead of where you want to be and find out that you had made a mistake. So here I am, just again, double checking. And at this point, I put both of the front panels to the side because I have those done. Now I've cut another strip. This one, I don't remember if it was the 12 inches or the 13 inches wide, but I am basically going to do the same thing. I am going to find right here by putting this top panel on there which stripe I need to cut between, and you can see I'm holding my finger there and just moving it over, and that is the white piece that I know I need to split the measurement of and cut it right down the center. Now you definitely wouldn't have to do this if you don't, if it doesn't bother you that the stripes don't match, that's okay. I've always found that like the nicer things that I've bought, things that I've spent a little bit more money on, the quality is always just these little details. So I wanted to make sure that I did that with this particular project. So again, I cut my center there, and now I'm just going to finish off the 20 wide. I feel like cutting fabric takes me so long just because I'm, I just want to make sure, what is the phrase? Measure twice, cut once. I think I measure like 5 times, cut once. And here I am double checking. This is one of the back pieces now, and I am double checking it with the front piece and setting it off to the side. And I will do the same with this one. So at this point, I will have the front piece done and one of the back pieces done for each pillow, cutting wise anyways. Okay, so after I've cut all of my pieces, and remember you need 2 pieces for the back. In this case, I needed a 12-inch and a 13-inch. Here I'm double checking to make sure that everything's still lining up, and those are my 3 pieces that I need for my pillow. And I keep those pieces together. First thing I do, iron. I iron the front and back of both of them. Then the next thing I'm going to do is iron where I need to sew for my back 2 pieces, because I need to have a seam right in the middle where the envelope is. And the nice thing about this stripe is that it made ironing very easy, because I could keep it right on track where it should be by matching up the stripe. I do not use any pins in this particular seam. I just ironed it on one side, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to iron it on the other side. And that kept it nice for me to be able to sew. And I did that for both of the back pieces. But of course, first what I needed to do was line up my pieces so that I made sure that I was sewing the correct side. So here's this piece. Now I need to make sure that the top piece I line up so that I'm sewing the correct side of it. Okay, so now you can see me with my hand, knowing I'm just keeping that to remember that's where I need to iron, because that's the side I need to sew. Again, just did the same thing with the ironing. Now these particular pillowcases, I spent about $6 each making. So that's a pretty big savings compared to buying them. And I buy them too, but sometimes I like to make them because you can make great quality pillowcases. So here I am, just double checking for the who knows how many times. But I just really wanted to make sure that I wasn't making a mistake. And what made it a little bit more difficult with this fabric is that you couldn't really tell a difference between the front and back. Of course, I'm putting right sides together. You want to make sure you put your right sides together. But like I said, this particular fabric, you really couldn't tell much of a difference. So I went to my sewing machine, and I apologize for my hair. It had been pouring rain that morning and I was out in it and obviously didn't pay attention before I filmed this. But I'm just sewing a straight seam right down where I have ironed. I have a very inexpensive sewing machine. You do not need a fancy sewing machine for this. If you can sew a somewhat straight line, you can make pillows. So once I was done sewing each piece, I went back to my ironing board and I just ironed them, both sides. Okay, at this point, I'm going to put together my pillow in preparation for sewing it together. Me trying to figure out which side I thought was the correct right side. actually really enjoyed sewing these stripes because the stripes I actually thought made it a little easier. So I am not a fan of pins. I used to use pins all the time and they would always stick me, but I learned that you could use like this Elmer's glue stick. And all you do is just put it right on the edge. And then you're going to just iron it, and it keeps it perfectly in place for you to sew it. That was a game changer for me. Next, I'm going to do the other side where I want to make sure that I have my stripes aligned correctly. I've even used the Elmer's glue stick that has, what is it, purple, and then it dries clear. You can use those too. And of course you can use pins. Then I moved on to the sides and just did the same thing with the glue stick. Now once I got all 4 sides done, then I went over to my sewing machine and I started with the side. I just do straight seams. I don't try to like turn the corners and all that stuff. I just do a seam down each side. But I wanted to start with the side that have the stripes coming together. Then I'm going to do the other side where the stripes are coming together. And then I did move on to the side, the other sides. As you can see, like I said, if you can sew a somewhat straight seam, you can make a pillow. Okay, so once I got all that done, I went back over and ironed all of my seams, got them nice and straight. Then I cut the corners. I just like to cut them at a diagonal just to take off that excess fabric there. It makes it easier to get the corners the way that they should be. And if you had any excess fabric around the edges, this would be the time that you'd want to cut that off as well. In this particular pillows, I really didn't have any extra, but I have definitely done that before. And now I'm just poking out the corners. And you could always use scissors real gently. I have definitely done that before too. I love this white and green, definitely fabric that gets you through spring, summer. You can really even use it in the fall too, and Christmas, now that I think about it. And so at this point, I'm just going to just give it a good iron. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. First, I'm going to fix the seams. Just trying to get the seams all out where they should be and iron those first. Okay, at this point I've done all of the different sides, the seams, and now I'm going to go through and just give it a good ironing. I did go through and cut those strings off. So it's the next day and I'm getting the Loveseat all set up for the pillows to put on here so I can show you the new pillow covers. But I quickly wanted to show you just the difference between a down pillow and then just a regular pillow. This one is an 18 by 18 and this one is 20 by 20. And you can see in the thickness the difference between them. The down pillow is definitely going to be more expensive, but in my opinion, way better quality, and I will be replacing these 18 by 18s with down pillows. I will put both of these links for both of these down in the description, but definitely love the down pillows. And here we have it, the 5 new pillows that I made for this spring. This beautiful blue, almost kind of like a blue-gray with the white and green stripe, and then that center lumbar pillow. Just super cute, freshens it up, definitely speaks to spring. You can do this. You can definitely make these pillows. And before you go, I just want to show you a few things in my Etsy shop. I have these super cute bunnies, and these bunnies would be great for your porch, for inside. They're really cute this way with the bark, and on the back they're just like a wood, so you could display them either way. I also have this really awesome 3 crosses centerpiece, my most popular centerpiece in the Easter time, springtime. I also have done a tutorial for this, so if you would like to learn how to make this, I have that available in my Etsy shop as well. That is a step-by-step video tutorial to show you how to make these. And last, I have this super cute guy, this cute little bunny, a little centerpiece with some eggs and greenery. I will link all those below in my description box. Again, thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this and it's inspired you to make some pillows. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.